appointed to become the new CEO and publisher of Philadelphia newspapers. And I'd also like to introduce you, I think you know Bob, but I'd like to say how excited I am to have him on the team as the new Chief Operating Officer. And I think we're going to be a pretty dynamic 1-2 punch in the marketplace. And Bob is as much a part of this this press conference as myself, so feel free to ask Bob questions, and I may divert a few over to him because I'm about 24 hours old in this new role. I thought the best way to maybe open up today was to talk about my jog this morning. I ran down Broad, sort of collecting my thoughts about a pretty anxious evening last night, and came across a guy selling some papers in the median strip at the corner of Broad and Washington. After my jog, I looped back and ran up to him, and he's looking at the cover of the Daily News and the Inquirer, and he's looking at me and saying, are you this guy? And I said, yeah, I am. I'll introduce myself and find out how business is. So Mike, if you're watching or listening, keep selling a lot of papers, and we'll try to make this a regular occurrence if it helps sales at that outlet for you. So I'm very excited about the opportunity. You guys probably have a lot of questions, so why don't we go from there? You guys know I'm a native. I started my career here, and I'll leave it at that, and we can go right into some questions. So feel free.
Greg, well, first off, what do you think are your first 2 or 3 priorities as it relates to both papers and the website?
The very first priority starting Monday is to spend time with employees. We have not done that yet. We are planning to have meetings with the various management teams and the entire staffs of both headquarters and out at the plant. And I've had this question quite a bit over the last couple of hours about, are you bringing in a strategic plan and implementing it on day one? We clearly have some ideas about what we'd like to do with the company and with the various assets. But my style is to spend time with the employees and the marketplace, meaning the readers, the users of the website, the advertisers, to formulate that final plan. So there is not an overarching strategic plan that's going to be initiated on day one. There's going to be a lot of give and take. I'm very collaborative in my style. So I will be as open as I possibly can be to listen about what has been working and what hasn't been working from all 3 of the entities.
And as far as the priorities as they relate to things to get the close of sale and the collective bargaining agreements and that sort of thing?
Pardon me?
As far as moving toward the close of the
Right.
sale at the end of June,
Right.
at the end of June, and obviously you need to get union contracts.
We do. I believe there are 14. Is that correct?
Right.
That we have to complete prior to close. And Monday is the first day with all of the employees, and soon after will be initial discussions with each of the unions.
So come Monday, you literally, how will you meet with the workers? I mean, what is the plan generally?
With the unions?
With the workers to say hello to them on Monday?
The plan is to basically meet with the management team first. I think there's an existing body within the company. And immediately after that, we're going to do an all-staff meeting following that, and then go out to the plant to meet with all the staff out of the plant. So that will all be taking place on Monday. Keep going.
And we've read through Mr. Heff's report this morning that you have a lot of experience in new media. Tell our listeners and
Sure.
folks in Philadelphia what kind of changes or what is in store for what happened. Obviously, old school broadsheet and tabloid newspapers.
Well, one of the things I'm most excited about is, and I just found this out a couple of minutes ago, is that Philly.com, the name, I think it starts with a brand. And I think it was very wise at one time, and I found out it was Bob, who actually named this during his administration, previous administration, to name the portal around a brand that represents a region rather than an individual property. We have multiple entities right now, So I think it's a starting point. I'm very excited about that. That gives us the opportunity now to broaden the reach, I think, of that portal and become the dominant portal within eastern Pennsylvania, southern New Jersey, and Delaware. So if you look at a macro strategy, that's our goal. I hope that it will become, and plan for it to become, the most dominant regional portal in the country. The taking a look at sort of integration of multimedia, that our ultimate goal, because if you think about it, today there isn't a case study you can take off the shelf at a business school to say, this is how a regional business should behave, or this is how a local media company can succeed, both in generating audience, and satisfying advertisers, and operating on a profitable level. Our goal is to be that first market. We're the 4th largest market in the country, so we have certainly the critical mass to achieve that, and that will be our goal going forward. So I hope to leverage the experience I've had and the success I've had at both Newsweek.com and CNET.com, and bring some of that learning back to Philadelphia and build up Philly.com.
So how would you tell that guy that saw your picture in the paper how you grow and become the dominant portal? What, in layman's terms, how do you do that?
I think you basically enter into it with a true portal strategy. Not as possibly just an extension of a single brand or 2 brands, but a much broader strategy. I think a domination strategy, quite frankly, is sort of the plan. Not that it's just, as I said, a good extension from the paper, but a more aggressive strategy to look at it holistically, looking at video, looking at audio, looking at content, a little in a broader sense, looking at local media. There are lots of, I think, little small niche local plays that have done pretty well. I think over time, Philly.com can actually help that succeed. So if you sort of think on a broader basis of what's happened with some of the larger portals successfully out there, whether they be Yahoo or MSN and the way they operate, I'd like for us to think about, within the context of this region, sort of have that same approach and attitude, but open ourselves up beyond the brands that we operate.
Going back to the dinosaurs, the print,
Sure.
if you will.
Absolutely.
Both these are Pulitzer Prize-winning newspapers.
Right.
Is there any intention of tinkering with the editorial style?
I've got some ideas on it just as a reader of the papers, and I have been for quite a long time. But I want to totally immerse myself with the editorial team to find out what their mission has been, and how they think they've connected with the reader in the marketplace, and open up that dialogue and that discussion. I have not spent any time with any of the employees of the company. And again, for a person whose style is total integration and collaboration, it's hard for me to be able to outline where I would be going right now. I will say that my goal is for each of those entities to have very distinct places in the minds of the community, and to become must-reads for different reasons in the community. That's about as far as I could possibly go. I have gotten the question, and there's been a lot of speculation, I think prior to the announcement of the new owners, of what the future of the Daily News is. And as Bob knows, all of the discussions I've had with Bob prior to this, and discussions with the owners prior to this, while I was interviewing for this job, had a lot to do with what would your plans be. And it had to do with growth and building, and preserving the heritage and the tradition of the brands that we have, and growing those brands. None of the discussions I had anything to do with closing down one of the brands. Okay, we have very distinct